So this is an overview of learning outcome one, understanding how to target a market. So first thing you need to know is a product versus a service. So a product is something that you can take away to use or consume. So something that you can actually own and keep for yourself. A service is when something gets provided for you. So in this example here, the product is the actual food and the service is things like the table service that they might provide for you or the actual cooking of the food. Next is wants versus needs. So what you'll often find is that people will need a particular product. So you will need food. It could be any food at all that you can eat to get you through the day. But want is something that you desire. So in this particular example, we might need a car to get to work, but also we might want a particular type of car that we don't necessarily need. So people have desires that they might want something particularly fancy that they don't necessarily need. And also people might treat themselves to things that aren't necessarily needed, but it's something that they want. Next, we're looking at some benefits of customer segmentation. So it's looking at the fact that customers need different things and want different things. So we need to segment our customers. Sometimes they might buy things online. Some people might buy things in the shop. Also, people have different tastes. So someone might like one particular car, someone might like a different particular car. So by segmenting our customers into different groups of people, we can avoid waste because you're not going to produce products that nobody wants. You can make sure that you meet all of the customer's needs as best as you possibly can. And it makes it easier to advertise because you know one particular type of customer that you are aiming your products at. Next, we need to look at market segmentation. So this is when we work in a particular industry and we want to segment our market to aim it at specific people. So using the little acronym GALEGO, this is a little memory aid to help you remember the 6 different types of market segmentation. So the first one is gender. Now we know that there are lots of different types of genders now, but advertisers and businesses will still focus on the main 2 because that is more than 95% of the population. So by looking at gender, you can often market products differently depending on if you're a male or a female. For example, most males will wear trousers and a shirt and a tie for work, and most females will wear some sort of other dress wear. Also, if you're looking at children, then boys will often buy things like football boots and football kits, and females might buy small like little dresses and that type of clothing. When we look at age, obviously people can be interested in things at all different ages, but they have different needs. So for example, children might need school uniforms, adults will need business clothes, elderly people who've retired are going to need a different type of clothing. So you can look at age for all sorts of different things. Children will buy toys, adults might buy things like blenders and toasters and things that they need in the house. So age can have a big impact. Income is a huge thing because obviously the products that you make need to be affordable for your customers. So you need to look at income and whether they'll be able to access your products or not. Lifestyle. This is quite an important one because it kind of ignores gender and age and any stereotypes that might come along with them. It's looking at what people are interested in. So regardless of how old you are, regardless of gender or age, you could be interested in a particular hobby, and therefore you can aim your products at a particular type of person and what they're interested in. Geographic, this can be quite important in the sense that you're not going to try and sell winter coats to people who live in a sunny country. So geographic can make a big difference. For example, in the car market, you might buy or advertise big 4-wheel drive cars and trucks to certain states in America. But then in the city, you might try and advertise electric cars that are a bit smaller and more ideal for a city. Occupation. This one is important, but I don't think quite as important as some of the others. But it's important because you can have very specific goods for occupation. So there are certain tools that might be needed for certain jobs. There are certain types of clothing that might be specific for certain jobs. So it's important to look at what people would do for a living as well. Next, we're looking at the benefits of market segmentation. So all of those different things that we've just looked at, but we're looking at what the benefits are. So using the acronym PRINT, you can use this to try and remember the 5 different benefits. First one is profits are increased. Second, retention of customers. Third, increased market share. Fourth, needs of customers met. And fifth, targeted marketing. Now, sometimes you need to be able to explain each of these, but most of them are pretty self-explanatory. Profits increased means that you're making more money. Retention of customers means that you are keeping hold of the customers that you've got already. Increased market share means that you are becoming a bigger business in the particular market that you focus on. The needs of customers met is pretty obvious, but it just means that the customers are happy and you are able to target their needs a bit better. And targeted marketing means that you can advertise a lot easier. You can specifically aim your adverts at a particular type of person. Market research. So this is a little bit of a different topic. Sometimes people get a little bit confused between the two, but market research is when you start to investigate into the market that you are looking at. So the main purpose of this is to reduce the risk when it comes to starting a new business or creating a new product. So if I know that my audience is going to be happy with a particular type of thing because I've asked them already, I've researched into it, then my risk of failure is reduced. To understand the market, if you do research and start asking all of your potential customers what their interests are, what their hobbies are, what their age, gender, all these different things, then you understand your market a little bit better. Next, we look at to promote the organization. So what this basically means is that the more research that you do, the more you ask people, you can actually promote the organization at the same time. So there's clever little adverts that you can do. There's things like going viral on social media as part of your research. So you could ask questions, but actually advertise the business at the same time. To aid decision making. So any decisions that you need to make, if you've done it based on research, it makes it a lot better decision. You're not just kind of fumbling around in the dark. You are basing it on some actual research that you've carried out. Next, we are doing it to gain customers' views. So obviously to find out customers' views and understand their needs. And finally, to inform product development. So if you were going to create a new product, the more research you do into what people want, the better your product will actually be. We need to look at primary research next. So this is looking at something that is sometimes called field research, and that's because you tend to go out yourself to do it. So there's 5 different options here: observations, questionnaires, surveys, focus groups, and consumer trials. You just need to know what each one is. So an observation is literally observing to see what people's behavior and what their reactions are. Questionnaires are just the questions that you come up with to ask your customers. Surveys are the entire process. So using the questions that you come up with, it's how you actually ask them and how you collect the information and how you analyze the information. Focus groups are when you gather a group of people together and ask them lots of different questions about your product or business. And a consumer trial is where you give people a limited trial of your product or service. So this could be like a 3-month trial of your service, or it could be like free samples of food or perfume or something like that. Secondary, sometimes called desk research, and that's because you often will do it from the office. You can do different things. So internal data is any information that you already have inside your business. Books, newspapers and magazines, these are pretty obvious what they are, but it's when you use things that are already published to find out information that might be useful. Competitors data, so this is when you look at all of your competitors, the other people in the market, to see what they have about their business and maybe get ideas for your own. Government publications and statistics, this is things that the government publish on their website, and you can find all sorts of information about local areas and what the population might be. Purchase research material is probably the most effective, but it's also the most expensive, and this is where you can pay a specialist company to find things out for you. Finally, we've got gathering feedback, not to be confused with research, because this is not necessarily research, but it's gaining feedback on something that you've already produced or already selling. So there's 6 different options here, all pretty self-explanatory. Social media or online communities is where you use the internet or use social media of some sort to get reviews and comments about your products. Obviously, these are really quick and easy to do and often don't really cost you any extra money. Disadvantage of that though is that anyone can comment and you might get all sorts of negative comments that you need to respond to. Online surveys, these are very, very easy to set up, easy to gather a lot of information because you've got a worldwide audience that can access it. It's basically the same as a normal survey that you might do on paper, but you can gather all the information a lot quicker and it's easier to analyse. Customer comment cards are small little pieces of paper or card that people can fill in inside your shop or inside your hospital, school, anywhere where your business is located, and they can give you instant feedback. Comments made to staff members, pretty self-explanatory. It's just when people might say something to your staff, you could use that feedback to make improvements. Telephone or email surveys are just when you are using your own staff to ring up customers or send out emails to see what people think. An email contact form is something that goes within your website and people can fill in small little boxes that will directly email you with their feedback. Okay, that is just a brief, quick overview of the whole learning outcome. There are more in-depth videos for each section if you need them. If you've got any issues or any questions, you can email me at this email address.